the agriculture development module, resources in agriculture. So basically, when we talk about the resources in agriculture, so fundamental resource is the land, and second one is irrigation, and third one is bioresources, biodiversity, conservation, and utilization. Then labor, and the fourth one is livestock and fisheries. So these are all related to agriculture resources. Okay. So first of all, how this land resources and its management is taking place, especially in our developing countries. Okay, so that is what we are going to discuss about it. So land resources means through land, what type of products it can be produced, and how they are going to be used, and how they are going to be managed over a period of time. So all those things can be discussed in this section. Okay. So when we talk about the agriculture, first of all, that is the basic need of the each and every population. So those who are growing in each and every country. Okay. So the food is the basic output of the agriculture. Okay. So when the population is growing, the increasing demand for food will also goes up and up. Okay. So that is the first and foremost thing. So how much population is growing at that rate, so the demand for food is also in a position to grow. Okay. So apart from that, so there are other products which can able to prepare that type of food, the fuel, fodder, and other raw materials which can also be useful for preparation of before so taking into the food. Okay. Industrial raw materials also coming from agro based industries, and efficient management of natural resources such as soil and water will continue to play a pivotal role in crop production. Okay. Soil fertility is very very important. So and water, so there is, if there is no water, there is no crop. Okay, whatever the, whether it may be a rain fed or it may be a river or canal water, so any through any source, so the water is one of the most important factor. We are losing good agriculture and land every year for the expansion of cities, towns, and even in the rural villages for non agriculture purposes. Because housing and non agriculture purpose, so they are also depending upon the land. So without land, though they cannot be constructed and they cannot be run. So without having the land resources. In that way, the land holdings are day by day small, and that is also too scattered. Water table is gradually going down due to excessive pumping of groundwater. Food security is one of the basic problem because of poverty. Equity and sustainability of resources are cause of concern for all of us. So equity means how equally the land resources and the water resources and other agro resources are being distributed, and sustainability of resources, how long the resources can be continued to produce the food. So these are the basic things which we have to understand. So the we will go into depth of this natural land resources and its management. Then how the land is being distributed, and that can be utilized. So that is the another aspect which we have to think about it. Land distribution. Okay. Though basically the land belongs to the government, But so who is going to cultivate that land? So among the that group of people, the land is being distributed. Okay, so land is one of the vital resources that can be used very judiciously. Agriculture area of town cities put into non-agriculture purposes in an unplanned manner. Okay, that is also one of the basic problem. So nowadays, so it is very much growing in almost all types of cities, in almost all types of villages, majority of the villages, because population is growing and the land is becoming scarce where they can so construct their residences and construct their businesses, so hold entrepreneurs and business establishments. So these are all required land. Okay. At panchayat level, common property land area is also utilized for houses due to increasing population. Some of the marginal land is subject to soil erosion by improper tilling. So this is one of the basic problem in the recent past. So it is taking place. Okay. So because of improper tilling, soil is being erosion. Okay. Land utilization should be done very judiciously. Fertility and productivity are maintained so to meet the future needs of the growing population. Okay, these two, what is the land fertility and to what extent it is in a position to produce the different type of crops, whether it may be an so cereals or pulses or so any type of crops which you want to grow on the land, so for the sake of food. So these fertility and the productivity levels, those two are very very important. Okay, so how the land fertility is growing up and what level of productivity it is going to so produce. So these are the so basic factors which can distribute, which can depend on the land distribution and the utilization. Okay, and the third dimension which we can see is that changes in land use pattern. This is the most important thing which we have to understand in India. So the basic problem is so land distribution is mainly depending upon the so hereditary. Okay, the if a father is having two sons, he is suppose he is having 10 acres of land, the two children will so share that land in equal manner, 5 acres each, like that. So and again, so if they have another so two children each, so again so the land will be divided in further, so another two and a half acres, like that it will come. If the so female so daughter is there, then so she can take her part and she can go to another house, so like that in that way. So in India, so the land is being so divided in so in this manner, like that. So nowadays, so the average size of land holding is almost 0.32 hectares. So this is what the type of land so has been so divided from 2.82 hectares to so 0.32 hectares of average size of land holding. In this way, so if the land holding size is going down, then the mechanization and the good crops so may not be in a position to grow in such type of lands. That is also one of the basic problem. So nowadays, okay, day by day, whenever the land holding size is coming down, then they may not able to use the mechanization process and they may not able to cultivate a good number of crops or good size of crops. So that is one of the basic problem which we have to understand. Area under forest has also increased over a period, if we can see. So though the population is growing, but on the other hand, so the forests are also growing. Area under non-agriculture uses also increased because the people, those who want to establish some type of establishments, so and so they do some type of business type, so then the non-agriculture purpose point of view, the land is also being reduced. Okay, in that way, so land use pattern is also changing day by day. Okay, non-agriculture purpose as well as so forest. Non-agriculture mein housing is one of the basic component, and the establishments, agriculture establishments or any other entrepreneurship. So if you want to do it, then for that purpose also land is the basic important component. In that way, the changes in land use pattern is so one of the basic component. Distribution of land holdings. Okay, that this I have already told you. The actual scenario in villages, the number of holdings is increasing, while the size of the plots or fields is decreasing. Number of holdings means that's what I have told you, that if a father is having two children or more than two children, so whatever his property, land property is there, that can be equally been distributed among their children. Okay, so in that way, the number of holdings are increasing, and the size of so holding is declining. A lot of variations among us the states, because as we can see, it depends upon so state to state. Rajasthan, Punjab, Haryana, Gujarat, Andhra Pradesh and Karnataka area operated by medium holdings are quite significant. Okay, so these marginal holdings are scattered and not economically viable for mechanization and investment in terms of resources for irrigation and other farm inputs. Mm, and suitable land reform measures to enhance farm production and productivity to match with the international levels. Okay, land reforms. So this is the most important so thing which has taken place in India. So when the independence has taken into place. Before that, the moment was there in a different manner. So that was not the exclusively on the land reform. So before that, Jamindari, Mahalwari, and Raitwari systems used to be there. Okay, so whenever the independence has come, during 1949 itself, the land reforms legislation has brought into force, and so since then the land reforms has so been implemented in majority in all almost all the states of India. Okay, so this is one of the radical measure which the government has tried to bring, because those who are able to cultivate the land so can be given to them, started, but though only except in one or two states it has become successful, that is in Kerala and West Bengal. Okay, these two have achieved some type of success in the case of implementation of the land reforms. In other states, it has been implemented, but the problem is so Binami land holdings, Binami reforms. So Binamis have occupied majority of the land. So that after that, so again that land rights so are not being so distributed properly. That is why so in majority of the states the land reforms have not been successful, though on paper it is there, so for the sake of so implementation of the land reforms. Okay, distribution of land according to problems. Okay, so because so the problems wherever the fertilization and the pesticides so and number of crops are more, so there the problems has started. Soil erosion by heavy water utilization, wind erosion, salt affected soils, waterlogging, ravine lands, shifting cultivation, and others. Okay, so these are the So type of problems on the basis of how the distribution of land has taken place. Okay, so in that context, so we have to discuss more about the different type of problems which are taking place. Okay. Yes, yes, yes. Because yes, actually, whenever the land is soil erosion is taking place, that land is narrow down. Okay, that narrow down is also creating lot of problems for cultivation purposes. That is what the ravine lands, which we can say. Then some type of waterlogging problem, as you all know, salt affected soils and wind erosion. These are all the problems which used to happen. So and shifting cultivation. Okay, shifting cultivation basically, whenever this can be implemented, the land reclamation, the land fertility can be rejuvenated whenever you can shift the cultivation. Okay, because same type of crop if you are cultivating so continuously, then the type of yield may likely to decline. So when you change the crop, then the fertility levels may likely to be continued. Okay, so that is what the basic difference which is there in this process. Then land reforms, as I have already told you. So land reform, how that land can be reformed. Reform means how the land can be distributed, those who are in a position to cultivate, so that land can be given to them, and so in that way, so the land is going to be utilized in an optimum manner. That is the basic idea behind that. Small and marginal holdings accounted for only 35% of operational area. Further, these holdings are scattered and not economically viable for mechanization and investment for irrigation and other farm inputs. Okay, so in this way, the land holdings are scattered and not economically viable for mechanization and investment for irrigation and other farm inputs. So, is also one of the basic problem. The government investment is declining, especially in the case of agriculture. Okay, that is what to some extent in the case of irrigation, the investment process is taking place, but not much. Other farm inputs point of view, also the same type of things which are happening. Suitable land reform measures to enhance farm production and productivity to match with the international standard. So that is what the one of the measure which the government has taken up. Growing realization among the small and marginal farmers that with the development of market forces in villages and rising farming costs, the present mode of production will not stay forever. This is also one of the basic problem. The cost of production is growing up day by day, because earlier we used to have the organic type of cultivation. That means whosoever is having some type of livestock, the livestock can, due to livestock, the majority of the organic manure will be formulated. Through that manure, there is no that much of fertilizers can be used, and the type of product which can produce is also very much nutritious, and it used to be so good in one way or the other. But over a period of time, the growing population needs that how to feed that type of growing population, because cultivation is not that much growing. So to feed that type of group of people, the fertilizers and pesticides have came into existence in the form of inputs. Okay, those inputs application is becoming more, and the natural organic so manures, so they have started rapidly declined. Okay, due to that also the problems has started rising. Okay, so this is also one of the most important factor which we have to think about it. Then the historical background of the land reforms, if we can see that, so that is what I am talking about it. 1949, so the Agrarian Reform Committee submitted a comprehensive report by the middle of 1949 covering almost all major issues relating to land reforms. What are the major issues means? Agrarian economy should provide an opportunity for development of farmers' personality. Okay, farmers' ka personality, how it can be developed. There should be no scope for exploitation of one class by another. There should be maximum efficiency of production. The scheme of reforms should be within the realm of practicability. So these are the major so policy issues. So the land reforms have been covered. Okay, development of farmers, exploitation of one class by another is ruled out, and maximum efficiency of production has started establishing, and reform should be within the realm of practicability. Okay, so how practically the reforms can be implemented, so those things so are very very important. Then progress of land reforms over a period of time, so how these things has been so implemented in the different states of India that I have just mentioned. So, because from the point of view of tenancy law, various regions of the country can be grouped into five categories. Tenancy means, as you all know very well, so the land belongs to one person. He is not able to cultivate that land. That's why he can mm, give that land to another person for cultivation. Okay, so because of using his land, so he can so after so production of the crop, so then he may likely to so there are different type of tenancies. Okay, different type of rents so used to be existing earlier. So the reason was not like that. The implementation of the tenancy law so was not in that dimension, but unfortunately those things have not been implemented properly in India. Okay, the progress made in conferring ownership to the tenants had been to the tune of 16% only. The remaining, insecure tenure was estimated 82%. Insecure tenure means so a landlord is being given the land to the another farmer. So that is called so tenancy. Okay, but today if you are giving good amount of so return to him, then he will continue you as a so tiller of that soil. If you are not giving proper so output to the landowner, he may change. Another person, the land can be given to another person, and so he may give the land rent to the owner. In that way, the insecurity can be created, because so the law is not in a position to protect the persons, those who are tilling that land. Okay, that is more in India. 82% of the land is insecure, because the majority of the people, those who are so taking a land on rent, so though they are not secure enough. That is what so we can try to discuss about it. The states like Kerala, Jammu, Kashmir have legally banned leasing out of agriculture land without any exception. Kerala and Jammu Kashmir, because that is in the Kerala in the extreme south, Jammu Kashmir is at the top of India. Okay. Telangana area of Andhra Pradesh, Karnataka, Himachal Pradesh, Madhya Pradesh, and Uttar Pradesh have legally prohibited leasing out of agricultural land, except by certain disabled categories like widows, minors, armed personnel, etc. States of Punjab, Haryana, Gujarat, Maharashtra, and Assam have not banned leasing, but the tenant acquires a right to purchase the leased land from the owner within a specified period of creation of tenancy. So Punjab, Haryana, Gujarat, Maharashtra, and Assam has so different type of setup. That is why so the difference between Andhra Pradesh, Karnataka, Himachal Pradesh, and Madhya Pradesh, Uttar Pradesh has different set of so tenancy law being implementing. Leasing out of agricultural land is totally ruled out. But in Punjab, Haryana, Gujarat, Maharashtra, and Assam, they have separate leasing pattern. In area other than Telangana of AP, Orissa, Rajasthan, Tamil Nadu, and West Bengal, there are no restrictions on land leasing, although in West Bengal only sharecropping leases are permitted. As I have already told you, West Bengal is one of the successfully been implemented the land reforms. There also the sharecropping system has so come up because the owner has also tried to give some inputs so to the crop, then the tenant so he is also in a position to share the 50%, 50 by 50%, then the output can also be distributed in an equal manner. So in that way the West Bengal is practicing. In the scheduled tribe areas of Andhra Pradesh, Bihar, Orissa, Madhya Pradesh, and Maharashtra, transfer of tribal land to non-tribal even on lease can be permitted only by a competent government authority. Okay, this is one of the wherever the scheduled areas is there, especially in India, Andhra Pradesh, Bihar, Orissa, MP, and Maharashtra. So in these five states, so the how the transfer of tribal land to non-tribal so on a lease basis can also be permitted by the competent government authority. In AP, Bihar, Karnataka, MP, UP, Haryana, Punjab, Rajasthan, and Tamil Nadu, the sharecroppers are not explicitly recognized as tenants. Okay. So because tenancy recognition, because the owner is not in a position to give the officially, he may not able to enter the farmer though who is cultivating his or her land. Okay. That is why so he may not be recognized as a tenant. The person who is tilling the land, he may not be recognized as a tenant. So these are the different type of so tenancy so reforms or tenancy laws which has been implemented so in the different states of India. Then the Operation Barga and Agriculture Development. So this is one of the important and good program which has been implemented in West Bengal. Okay, Bargadars. So the right to cultivation, hereditary, and raised his share to 75% of gross produce if he supplied all the inputs. Okay, that is what. So the act has been amended in that state. 50% is there on so sharecropping manner. In 78, the left front government launched a special campaign to record the name of sharecroppers, which is widely known as Operation Barga. This is called the Operation Barga, which has been implemented in 1978 onwards. This was done by the Revenue Department and Panchayat, and effort was made to take the help of commercial banks and cooperatives for providing institutional credit facilities to the sharecroppers and beneficiaries of ceiling surplus land. These two things so are important because credit is one of the most important factor for agriculture. So the tenants though who wants really credit from the institutional banks, because non-institutional sources they are there, money lenders and so private business people, so they used to give a huge so rate of interest and they can so occupy the entire crop. They have to they only can purchase the type of output what the farmer is producing, because he has taken some loan from that that landlord, that business person or the money lender or whosoever may be. Okay, so due to that reason, so that type of problems are there. Then, so beneficiaries of ceiling surplus land, because so I have already told you in this, so West Bengal sharecropping system was also there, that has been grown up to 75% also. That is the one of the basic factor which the operation Bagga so has given such type of scope to them. This operation led to the recording of nearly 15 lakh sharecroppers covering about 11 lakh acres of land. So that much so people have been recorded so under this scheme. In that way it has become successful, because the those who are having land and those who are highly educated, they left their lands, so and they have gone for so their jobs. So due to that reason, the this type of systems have grown up like anything. Abolition of intermediaries. Okay, this is one of the biggest problem. So especially in this so process, because before the land reforms, before pre-independence, so this Jamindari and Mahalwari and Raitwari systems were there. So there, the intermediaries, they used to act so as a almost the landlords type. Okay, because Jamindar, he may not pursue directly those who are going to cultivate. In between there is an intermediary. Okay, so who can assign the land to such and such person, and he can collect the so revenue, and so rent, so he will hand over to the jamindars. So based on that he may get something. In that way, so these systems were almost before when we have got the independence, almost all these things have been wiped out. Tenant farmers who tilled this land were burdened by high rents and other forms of exploitation. Okay, high rents, so also one of the exploitation factor. Legislation pertaining to the abolition of intermediaries began in the 1950s with the Uttar Pradesh Abolition of Jamindari Act. 1972, all states had passed laws to abolish intermediaries. Okay, so in that way, majority of the intermediaries so have been wiped out. These are the things which I have told you, because mm, regulation of land holding size. Okay, in 1961-62, all states had passed laws enforcing ceiling on land holdings. Okay, because ceiling on land holdings means a certain amount of land only the farmer can able to so maintain, or he can so that land can be under his ownership. Okay, basically ownership. So in that way, different states have passed a different type of so ceiling laws. So over a period of time. Okay. So based on that, because irrigated, I mean, it depends on the irrigated land, irrigated and unirrigated and semi-irrigated lands. So the extent of land which a farmer can so kept under his ownership has changed, and so different type of norms have been fixed in different states. Okay, so these are all there. So the just I have mentioned about it. In Punjab it ranges from 27 acres to 100 acres. In Rajasthan 22 to 236 acres, because that is fully dried state Rajasthan. In that way Punjab is highly irrigated state, that's why the difference is there. Okay, minimum so this much and maximum that much. And in Madhya Pradesh, this is semi 25 to 75 acres. Some land is so a little bit prone to irrigated, some is the dry area. The land owning unit also varies, because, as I have already told you, land owning unit varies from so generation to generation. If suppose a father is having two children or more, so the his land ownership land can be distributed among his or her children in an equal manner. In that way the land holding so unit will also vary so from time and again. So in that way, these policies have been implemented. Then tenancy reforms. So, as I have already told you, there are three kinds of tenancy reforms: regulation of rent, security of tenure, ownership rights to tenant. For the namesake, so these are the three tenancy reforms were there, but so nowhere these things have been perfectly been implementing. Okay, time and again it is changing because so the in some places only these things have been fixed, and so in rest of the places these are changing from time and again, because so due to calamities, due to so the droughts, and due to irrigation floods, so and heavy droughts, cyclones, and natural calamities. So due to that reason, so the type of output which they are going to so give it back to the owners, it may not be in a position to come that much. That is why so the regulation of rent so is also one of the basic problem. Security of tenure is not there. That's what I have already told you. Because so security means so continuously a person who has to cultivate the landowner's land. It is not like that. If this year, if he is not in a position to give that much of rent, so next year the owner is in a position to change the so tenant. So and in that way the changes are taking place from time and again. Ownership rights to tenant, so they are so trying to so implement this type of law in so several places, but in very few places only these things have taken place. But in majority of the places, so it has not become, this process has not become successful. Okay, in that way the tenancy reforms so implementation process is so still under doldrums, I can say. On security of tenure, state government passed laws that aim to prevent the unlawful eviction of tenants, allow resumption of land by the owner only for personal cultivation, ensure that tenants are assured the prescribed minimum area in the event of eviction. The laws apply differently in different states. In most places, tenancy reforms have been counterproductive for the following reasons. Sharecroppers who form the bulk of tenant cultivators have been excluded. Eviction of tenants continues under several pretexts. Tenancy has been concealed or shortened. Tenants get rotated, eroding the security of their tenure. Resumption rights for owner cultivators have been misused in order to grab land. Fair rents are not uniform and not implemented in various states. Many tenants could not get ownership rights due to their inability to pay large amount of compensation. So these are the so problems. These are the main reasons that the tenancy reforms have not been taken place in a proper manner. Okay. Then we can see the consolidation of land holdings. So this is for the namesake we are saying. In practical terms, this is very difficult task. Consolidation of land holdings is not a simple measure. Irrigation and fertilizers, because these are two important inputs for agriculture purpose. Without irrigation and nowadays without fertilizer, there is no crop which is coming, including vegetables or any other cereals or pulses crops. They are all depending upon the these two factors. Passbooks for the farmers. So, for in the sake of land ownership point of view, the government is issuing passbooks to the landowners. So that is the right for them. Then second aspect which we can see so is the water resources. So water is one of the most important component for the agriculture development. So in that way, land. So far, land we have discussed. Then second aspect which we have to think about, the water resources. Water resources are mainly rainfall, surface water resources, water bodies and storage, groundwater resources, irrigation potentials and utilization, and interbasin water transfer. This is one of the most important aspect in the recent past. It is taking place. Interbasin water transfer, because so in one basin or in one river, the water is so very less. Then that water can be piped into another river, so in that way, the the two rivers can be combining. So two or more rivers in a process. So there may be more number of rivers can be so merged, and so ultimately they are in a position to give the farmers so in a good number of water. Okay, in that way, so these are the measures. So surface water resources, as you know, water bodies are being formulated, groundwater resources are also being exploiting, irrigation potentials and utilization time and again. So how much potential the farmers are in a position to use? As you all know very well that cereals, especially rice, paddy cultivation will need more number of water as compared to wheat. So in that way, so majority of the so rice crop so will need good water resources. In that way, rainfall, without rainfall also it is a very difficult task. Without rainfall, the water resources also not in a position to grow, so and it cannot able to do the services throughout the year. Okay, that is why rainfall is also compulsory. That is why rainy season so is very very important for any country. So these things so which we have to remember. So how the rain is becoming, transforming it into water. Okay, so that water is being so piped in different type of canals, and if the rain is there, then only the groundwater resources are also being maintained in that way. So the rain is one of the basic important component so to enhance or to continue to sustain the water resources. Okay. Mm. Then the other aspects. So the third, cropping pattern. Okay, cropping pattern is also most important, because so how many number of crops they are in a position to grow in an year, in an agriculture year. So one crop to more than three crops, so three to four crops also they are in a position to grow. And nowadays in some places, some places mixed cropping is also taking place. So in that way, the major cropping patterns so are so from region to region, and on the basis of availability of water resources, the cropping patterns also changing from place to place. Availability of irrigation water, effect of government policy. Okay, policies are because so crop holiday also the government is in a position to declare. Okay, when so the land is losing its fertility, soil erosion, or some type of so climatic conditions which are not favorable, or drought conditions are taking place during that time, the government can take some type of policies, and so that effect is also there on the agriculture, overall agriculture development. Effect of cropping system on weed control. Okay. Because so if you are continuously growing same type of crop, so the problem of weed control so is there. So if you are keep on changing, so that time also the weed may be there, but so it can be controlled to some extent. So that is what so how effectively you are in a position to change the cropping pattern system, so that the weed control can also be in a position to take place. Then soil health, as so we have already discussed. Soil health, if is positive, is good, then only the good. level of output will be in a position to emerge. So that is what the soil health is very, very important in this agenda. Crop diversifications, as I have already told you, so the crop diversification is an inevitable factor. So if you can diversify the crops, the soil fertility, and so the yield levels of crops can also be so in a position to give good results. Then farming system approach. Okay, so day by day, how farming system is being so taking place, that is what the most important thing. Okay, then agroclimatic zones, as we all know very well, because India is having all types of climatic conditions. Hill region is there, very low lying region is there, hilly region and Mediterranean region, and so that plateau areas and tropical areas, all these type of all types of zones, so which we have in that way. There are 15 types of zones, agriculture zones in India, so which we have. What are the states which are associated with these so climatic zones that I have given to you? Okay, so it depends on so place to place. So the place is in a position to be most important to fix or to decide the region, so where you are trying to work, and so whether the business will come or not, or so that wherever you are trying to call, or where you are doing some type of work, so those type of things are also very, very important in this aspect. The second aspect which we have to think about is the biodiversity, conservation and utilization. Bio means so, as you all know very well. So this biodiversity, this the plants and species and other so things, so which are very, very important in this. There are several types of plantation, so which is taking place there, that is also a part of agriculture only. Okay, this biodiversity is the key component of any agriculture production system, indeed of any ecosystem. Without it, to it no natural evolutionary adjustment of the systems to changing environmental and biotic conditions would be possible. Farmers would not be able to spread the risk of crop failure or experiment with and refine crop varieties to suit their tastes and changing needs. Okay. So, how these farmers would not be able to spread the risk of failure of or experiment with that refine the crop varieties to suit their tastes and changing needs. So these are the things which can be observed. So in this process, agriculture science and forestry would not have the basic raw materials for their introduction, domestication, and improvement programs. So this is also one of the most important thing which we have to understand. Agriculture science and forestry would not have the basic raw materials for their introduction. There is no introduction. Domestication of animals is also another component, and important programs. Im- So that is also one of the most important aspect. For development to be sustainable, conservation and use of genetic diversity must be at its source. Okay, this is then in the next lesson we used to discuss. We will go to discuss genetic diversity. Okay, genetics, genes, so how they can so flourish, and how they can so participate, or how they can be useful for the human population, and how they are in a position to grow over a period of time. So these are all the most important issues for the agriculture point of view also, because the world is dynamic. This need so for diversity is continuous. Okay, biodiversity and genetic resources. Biodiversity means the variability among living organisms from all sources, including inter alia, terrestrial, marine, and other aquatic ecosystems, and the ecological complexes of which they are part. Okay, this is what is the biodiversity, which you have to understand. It provides the basis of biotic resources that sustains the human race. Ultimately, these biotic resources which can be useful for the human race. Okay, so any human being, so they will depend on the biodiversity where they are living. So what type of resources which they have, all these things will influence the human population. This includes diversity within species, between species, and ecosystems. There are several types of species which we can see. That is all due to biodiversity. Different type of species can be originating, so that both are so not interchangeable. Okay, so in that way, these two things are very important. It is estimated that there exist 15 to 30 million species of living forms on our earth, and of these only 1.5 million have been identified and include 3 lakh species of green plants and fungi, 8,000 species of net of insects, 40,000 species vertebrates, and 360,000 species of microorganisms. These are all existing. So these things is very minute level. So they used to take place. So that is why while measuring it is very difficult task. There exist 5 to 30 million species of living forms on our Earth, and of these, 1.5 million have been identified and include 3 lakh species of green plants and fungi, 8,000, and insects, 40,000 species of vertebrates, and 3,60,000 species of microorganisms. Are conservating the biodiversity system. Biological diversity. So there are different type of biological diversities are there: algae, fungi, bacteria, viruses, lichen, so bryophyta, preto, preto, gymnosperms, agnesperms, protista, mollusca, arthropoda, other inter other invertebrates, protochordata, species, amphibia, reptila, aves, mammilas. These are all the different types of bioorganisms. Plant genetic resources also there are several, because India occupies a unique position among the major gene-rich countries of the world. It encompasses a wide spectrum of life forms. Its cultural ethnic diversity includes over 550 tribal communities, 227 ethnic groups spread over 5,000 forest villages across the humid tropics to semi-arid, temperate, and alpine regions. Okay, so these are the ones we can see. So how these are all being utilized by the different group of people. Okay, these are the one of the source for the group of people, those who are living especially in the tribal areas. It has been reported that 49,000 plant species, including 17,500 species of higher plants, occur in the country in its 16 major vegetation types. Because the vegetation type will grow the different type of plant species. Okay, that is what we have to understand. This biodiversity biological plants. So and so this these things, so how the vegetation they can be created. So these are all very very important. And then exploration and germplasm collection. Okay, germplasm collection is so very very important thing, because these things can be useful for so the medicinal purposes. So how they can extract those things from horticulture crops and their wild relatives and relevant species. Okay, these two things are very very important. Traditional knowledge in domestication, use and conservation of native plant genetic resources. At present, traditional or low inputs agriculture is thought to support more than one quarters of the world's population. Then the agriculture practices another day crore chore of the primitive man provide valuable clues of his definite concepts of conservation of plant resources and energy and healthy environment. And interesting area of work in ethnobotany is the study of selection brought out by the tribal in certain economic plants and the conservation of germplasm through patronage of land races. Okay, so these are the most important thing. Then germplasm exchange and plant quarantine. So these things, so how the germplasm is being exchanged and how the plant is being quarantined. So these things so are very very important. Germplasm evaluation. Okay, then how it can be evaluated over a period of time, and what type of nutrients so it consists of, where they can be useful, and to what extent so it has to grow. Especially so in the recent past, so majority of these things are being utilized in the so medicine purpose or ayurvedic medicine and all. So for that purpose, so how these things are being produced, and they can be so overall, so how these things can be extracted and how they can be utilized. So this is what the overall evaluation so which is taking place. Documentation and information management. So wherever these things are available, they are growing over a period of time, the data can be documented and information can be managed. So and how it can be conserved. The germplasm conservation is very very important. The molecular techniques for characterization and study of diversity. Okay, so this molecular techniques, so how they are being characterized, and so how these can be diversified from one to another. So because what type of change, what type of output it may likely to come if you can diversify. So these moleculars, so in each and every so germplasm, or what type of plants or what type of things so which are growing. So the botany, so they are doing a lot of research on this. So based on that, different type of outputs which are emerging so out of that, so how those things can be utilized for the productive purpose. So that can be used mainly for the medicinal purposes. And so different type of fruits can be produced and different type of crops can also be grown because of this type of research, so which is supporting. And ultimately the overall agriculture development is likely to take place. The intellectual property rights, ultimately we have to understand that so while we are changing different moleculars and different germplasms, and they are growing some type of new crops. So through that, so how they are in a position to get the so intellectual property rights. So because so from rice to to up to all types of crops. So these type of changes or diversification which is taking place over a period of time, because the research is goes on, so taking place in different places, in different dimensions, in different capacities. So this is what, which is going to be very much useful to the overall agricultural development process. So that is what we want to see. So because once we have seen the land and water resources, then the biodiversity, how it is also been helpful to the overall agriculture development. So that is what so far we have discussed. And the third important component in the process of agriculture is the labor. Okay, how this without labor nothing is going to happen. Okay, the sources are available. Okay, land, water, so this biodiversity, all these are all sources. The sources can be become resources whenever the labor component is added to that. Labor component is participating, and that labor is doing all these type of inputs can be useful for the sake of production or the productivity, whatever the way which you want to derive the output from the existing or available natural resources like land, water, and biodiversity resources, all these things. So whenever you can apply some type of labor or the other, then only they can be in a position to produce some type of output. Otherwise, so that type of source which is available to all of us, so remain as a source only, that may not become resource. Okay, resource. So for the sake of resource, so the labor can be applied to the source, then only it can be a productive power. That type of source can become productive power whenever you will apply the labor component to that. What extent you can apply that labor component, that depends upon you, and availability of the resources. Okay, so that is in that way. We have to think about that, how the size and composition of labor force which is changing, how it is growing over a period of time. That is most important, as we all know very well. So how this education is also in a position to utilize your mind. And before, if you will not give your mind to education or the training, then your mind is only source. Okay, whenever you are giving some type of education or training to your mind, then that mind can be utilized. So when the source can become resource, in that way the large number of products can be produced. For that purpose, here we have to see that what is the size of labor force which you have. And how composition of labor force means male and females and different age group of people, how they are in a position to participate while using that type of sources into become into resources. Okay, occupation wise distribution, there are different type of occupations. Okay, apart from agriculture, there are the different type of industries. There are 9 classification of industries which we have. Okay, so how the type of resources occupation wise distribution which is taking place, that can be seen. Growth of agriculture labor in India, because the it depends on the level of education. And if the people are educating, then there is no problem. Okay, so then they become so some type of or the other so productive human beings. So productive human beings means they will become the white collar job or so some type of employment which they can acquire. So in an organized sector, okay. So these organized sector people they may get incomes. So in a monthly or daily or so in a so business people they all can get in that manner. But the agriculture labor who do not have any such type of so good education, they have to depend on the natural resources. So how that labor is also growing in India. So over a period of time it is declining in every country, but the component is very very important. Agriculture consider agriculture, if you want to do some type of agriculture or the other, agriculture labor is an important so component for that. Okay, that is one of the thing. Then what are the characteristics of agriculture labor? So you know very well, because agriculture labor means they have to work more than uh, more than 6 to 8 hours a day in the so agriculture. There is no limit for that. So in the especially in the agriculture belt, so some people can work so 10 to 12 hours, more than that so per day they can use. Okay, in that way, so the different type of characteristics which they have, they must so have some type of physical characteristics. They must be good physic, and they must have some type of so practice, and they have to they were used to such type of performing such type of activities. So in that way they are also very very important. Economic conditions of agriculture labor, day by day they are so coming down. So if they want to earn some type of so labor or the other, so that is also very very important. Please just so 2 minutes, I'll be back. అమ్మా, క్లాస్లో ఉన్నాను అందుకని ఎత్తలేదు. సౌండ్ అవుద్ది. చెప్పా. ఎన్- ఓహోహోహో, ఎంత చెప్పా. ఉమ్. ఎంతమ్మా. సరే సరే. అమ్మా. ఆ? సరే సరే చూస్తున్నా. ఆ, సరే సరేనమ్మా. ఓకే ఓకే ఓకే. సరిపోతుంది. అమ్మా ఫోటో సరిగ్గా కనపట్లేదు, నెంబర్ చెప్పు సరిగ్గా ఒకసారి. 8 8 0. ఆ, ఆ, 34. రైట్ అమ్మ, రైట్ రైట్. చూస్తున్నాను, చూసి చెప్తాను. ఫోన్ పేనా గూగుల్ పేనా? ఆ, చెప్తాను. సాహితీ ఏజెన్సీస్ అని వస్తుందా? రైట్. సరేనమ్మా. సిహెచ్ ఆంజనేయులు అని కూడా వచ్చింది. సిహెచ్ ఆంజనేయులు అని కూడా వచ్చింది. సరే. 4700 కొట్టేశాను. ఓకే అమ్మ. అమ్మ వచ్చినాయా? సరేనమ్మా, సరే. హలో. హలో.
Yes, sir, it's audible.
Hello.
Yes, we can hear you, sir.
Yeah. Sorry for the inconvenience. Yes. So this is what economic conditions of agriculture labor we were discussing about it. The economic conditions of agriculture labor is always so in a very much pathetic situation because the economic conditions day by day so is in a position to so decline over a period of the time because agriculture labor so sometimes so they may get the agriculture labor and so sometimes they may not get. That's why they may migrate from one place to another place and so they may likely to earn their bread every day. So the land ownership point of view also labor is not having so majority of the people they may not have any type of ownership. So if they are so continuously performing their type of labor, some people they may likely to earn some type of ownership or the other. That may be possible after so the number of people those who are working in that family, so then they may collect their so some type of money and so they may um, purchase some type of piece of land or the other. In that way, they may become landowners to some extent. Wages and income, that is one of the major source. So if they can work in the agriculture, they may get wages so on a regular basis or daily basis. So the wages will change from season to season and day by day and person to person and so place to place. So these wages will change. So in that way, so the level of income which they may come, so and it depends on the number of people they are participating from their family, and where they are participating, for how much wage they are in a position to get. These are all the factors, so it depends on the income. Ultimately it may so accumulate the income levels. Then unemployment is one of the basic problem, how the unemployment is also positioning in so different places. Types of unemployment, especially in the case of agriculture sector, the disguised unemployment used to take place. Okay, but so some people they may not get the good employment. Year long, for the namesake they may say that they are in the agriculture sector, but year long the activities may not be there. Okay, so sometime only effectively in the, so hardly we can say that throughout the year, if they may grow minimum 3 crops or 4 crops, then only they may get maximum number of days, around 180 days. That whosoever may get 180 days, they may be called as a main worker. Otherwise, so the people those who may get below 180 days, they may be called as marginal labor. Okay, like that. So the unemployment situation will vary from year to year, and so place to place, and time to time, and it depends upon the so availability of the work. Okay, so that is what the unemployment situation is very much rampant in, if the suppose agriculture, so inputs which are not available properly, or irrigation facilities are not available properly, so then also the unemployment situation will likely to shoot up. So in that way the unemployment may be so likely to rise, so on any front, any dimension which may be failed, then due to that reason also the unemployment may likely to grow. So then the social deprivation and social security. So whenever if the crops are not taking place, or if the calamities are taking place, or some type of unforeseen circumstances may likely to emerge, floods, droughts, or some type of damages may likely to happen, then during that time also they may continuously lose their income from the agriculture labor or agriculture activities. Then they may have to migrate. Due to migration, and so in some other place they may go, if they may get any type of work opportunities, then they may get some type of income or the other. In that way, so the social deprivation is also taking place, because continuously they may not stay in one place, and they may search for work in different places, and continuously so they are in a position to search for the type of activities where they can participate. That is why for them, so social security is also at a stake, because you never know where the people, when the people they may migrate, or whenever they are migrating to some place, so there what type of security you may expect from other farmer, other persons. So it is also one of the so biggest threat, so in those circumstances. That is why these things will always keep on chasing with you. The social deprivation as well as the social security will always chase these labor force. Okay, and causes of the growth of agriculture labor, because the consumption pattern is growing at a rapid rate, because whether they may have the property or they may not have the property, the giving birth to children is not in a position to stop. That is why, so day by day, the growth of agriculture labor, they may not have good education facilities. That's why they may not be in a position to good to take any type of good employment opportunities. That is why they may have to depend on the day by day agriculture only. So in that way, the agriculture labor force, depending on the agriculture, is keep on growing over a period of time. Okay, so there are several types of causes. So as I have told you that the income is one of the basic component. So, and the type of consumption levels, so which are very high, and the population size, the family size, and the level of participation. Because so in some families, both wife and husband, they may used to participate in, so majority of the families. So it depends on the culture, it depends on the system, it depends on different type of environment. So in some places, so they may work together. In some places only male can work, in some places only female can work, especially in the hill region. You may see that the majority of the places only females, they used to work hard, and males, they used to take rest. Whereas in the case of plains, so males used to work, and females, they used to take rest, so in majority of the times. So in that way, so these are all the factors, these are all the reasons. So the family people, so they may not have that much of good income level. So due to that reason, they may not able to educate themselves. So due to that reason, so they may agriculture labor can grow over a period of time. Government measures of support, in the recent past, if we can see, in almost all the state governments and the central governments, they are doing a lot of efforts. So a lot of support to the agriculture labor force. So due to the food, basically public distribution system has been introduced to distribute the food inputs, rice, wheat, some other oils, cooking oils, etc. Okay. Then other way, those who are who do not have the any type of land, so they may be given ration free. So okay, whatever the, so rice, wheat, so the different type of food grains, whatever they want. So that much amount may not be there, but at least minimum, so food grains will be distributed through the public distribution system. Any government, so any state government, so in majority of our Indian states, they have such type of system, so to give some type of food security needs to the these labor force especially. Okay, but so fortunately or unfortunately, that can be utilized in a different way, majority of the people. So that is also on the leakage front, we can say. Okay, so then government, in the recent past, so directly, so they are giving some type of benefits, apart from the others. So the agriculture labor, those who are doing some type of tenancy or the other, so for them also the government is ready to give some type of loans. So in that way, the government has started so some type of credit facilities, so like that. So they are started doing, but it has not become successful. In that way, different in the different trends. So especially for the sake of for the agriculture labor, for the labor, the government is in a position to support. Apart from that, the marginal and so land small farmers, they are also getting some type of benefits from the government. Then acts protecting agriculture labor. Okay, there are different type of acts has been introduced, so to protect the labor. Workmen's Compensation Act, so Minimum Wages Act, Maternity Benefit Act, Equal Remuneration Act, Bonded Labor System Act. So these are the acts. So there are acts for the 1923 onwards. So these acts have been introduced, and in India, these things are being implementing. So in several states, so in a successful manner. Okay, but Equal Remuneration Act is still, it is not been useful, it is not been implementing perfectly. Okay, maternity benefit also, this which is not becoming successful. So for the sake of maternity benefit, so in the recent past, so the anganwadis and balwadis, so and maternity benefit scheme has also been introduced. In some states this is very much effectively been implementing, and in some states, there are some type of leakages in this act also, implementation of this act. Minimum wages act also almost so been implementing, but so in some places exploitation is still taking place. Wherever the domination, caste domination or the religion domination is there, in those places the minimum wages act is also not been implementing perfectly. So these are some type of leakages which are there in the implementation of these acts. Workmen's compensation act is there, but so because they does not aware about it, that's why so they are not in a position to fight such type of rights. So due to that reason, in some places, if the government and the so bureaucracy is perfect, then they are in a position to implement such type of things. Otherwise, so they may also ignore, and so the people, those who are not in a position to fight such type of rights also. Bonded labor system act is there, but still in majority of the places, so this still these type of things are taking place. The central government and the international level also, to avoid, to abolish this type of bonded labor system, the governments have been trying to implement, but unfortunately so they are not fully, so totally in a position to so wiped out of this bonded labor system has not been taken place. Still it is persisting. So in India, so in some places or the other. Okay. In that way, this so because of this different type of acts, so which are there for protecting the agriculture labor, but so in real terms, in the effective implementation of so these acts point of view, there are some type of leakages. Still the government has to work perfectly to implement these type of acts in a thorough manner. Then schemes and programs for betterment of agriculture labor, these are also there. So that schemes, I have already told you to some extent. So the schemes are being implementing, so they are very good in so some places. Wherever they are, the bureaucracy and the governments are, political willingness is very very important to implement these type of schemes. Okay, the central government is introducing, but the state governments, they are transfer changing their names, and they are so trying to implement on their own, so according to their wish. So the state people say they are in a position to receive such type of schemes benefit. So this is one of the major lacuna because of illiteracy. These are the major problems so which we are confronting in India, in several states, in several places. New economic policy and agriculture labor, so this is also one of the good thing which it has come up. But so the policy, so it is not in a position to reach 100%. So this is the basic problem. The policy is good for the sake of agriculture labor. Agriculture labor may not be in a position to strive for his so searching of his food, but so these are all only, I mean, my majority cases, in majority of the places, this is on paper only. So the effective implementation of these things so are not taking place. Economic policy has so come up very nicely. So how to protect this agriculture labor from time and again, so they may not suffer without having some type of food or there. So to compensate the labor, so government is trying to implement Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Act, and so like that different type of schemes, so Rozgar Yojana, like that they are introducing. So in some places, so out of 100 days they were supposed to provide employment, in some places hardly, not even 20 to 30 days, so they are providing, and they are filling the records, and they are submitting the, so governments, so the government is also, so they are following that, so okay, it is going on, it is implementing like that, so they are so doing in such a manner, in that way. So especially the agriculture labor, so they are in a position to get benefit out of all these schemes which are being so implementing by the government. But so there are some type of loopholes, there are some leakages which are so still bothering the agriculture labor. So that is what, so we have to understood, and that much of awareness about these type of benefits and schemes are not been so reaching to the grassroots level. Okay, still there are some lacunas, so while implementing these type of acts and programs and schemes. So this is what the labor point of view. Then finally, the livestock and fisheries, these are the inevitable things, especially these resources are there by which of nature, so the livestock and fisheries, so they are there. But so day by day, so the labor not in a position to spend much time to feed the livestock, so to rare such type of livestock, that's why they are so not in a position to so grow the livestock, so in majority of the places, so livestock population is going down. So in if you go and see the village level, so majority of the families, though they may not so in a position to grow the livestock, they are also depending upon others, so for the sake of milk and so other milk products. So the dairies have come up, so those who are having that milk, they are so selling their milk to the dairy, and the dairy is again selling back to the other, so people those who need such type of milk products, milk. In that way, there are so livestock population, so overall India point of view, because there are different type of livestock, so stalls are coming up, so livestock is in a position to being established by so different type of farms, so that farms are growing livestock in a separate manner. So buffaloes point of view, cows point of view, and so these two animals are in a position to give milk, so to the, so the milk utilization is very high. So even then, to compensate that type of things, so these farms are coming up, so in a wide manner the government is trying to support, so to establish this type of so livestock so farms. Okay. And second aspect which we can see, that the fisheries resources. Fisheries, basically they are two types, marine and inland. Okay. So marine fisheries, as you know, this is so it is basically the people those who can go and so do fishing at the sea level. So they can so catch hold of the marine fish, and they can come and they can sell, and they can so eat such type of things. The inland fisheries means it has to be grown separately. Okay. And though the rivers are so also, the rivers also in a position to contribute inland fisheries, but so nowadays the fish cultivation is also growing like anything. So especially so prawn cultivation and so fish cultivation, these two types of cultivation so is growing like anything. So with that also, majority of the agriculture farms, they are also been converting into fish tanks and the prawn tanks. So like that, especially in southern part of India, so which are growing, so like inland fisheries, so in a high manner. So marine fisheries also we have, so in the majority of the part we have from Gujarat to up to West Bengal. So these marine, so-called marine fisheries, so which are available. So in that way, so fisheries, so input is also very high in India. So these livestock and fisheries are also part of the agriculture development. So the agriculture people, those who are involved in the agriculture, they may also likely to involve in the livestock and fisheries. So if they are also growing, so these livestock and fisheries are also growing, then agriculture development is also growing. In that way, so these are all the basic components of the agricultural development. So that is what so we can discuss about it. Okay. So with this, so I'm so likely to stop today. Okay. Any questions, so please so ask me, so I am trying to explain. Okay. Is it okay? Hello.
Hello, sir.
Yeah. Is it okay?
Yeah, it's fine. Thank you very
Yes.
much, sir.
Yes.
I
Yes.
yeah, I want to ask about
Yeah.
inland reforms. How does Indian deal with nomadic or pastoralists that graze around farmland? Because it's a big issue here in Nigeria, because that it has led
Oh,
to a lot of problems,
yeah.
crises.
Yes.
Yeah, how does India deal with that?
Yes. So India, yeah, actually, it has brought an act. So since 1949 onwards, okay, Land Reforms Act. So those who are having the land ceilings, area-wise ceilings has been so fixed. If you have the agriculture land, so agriculture land means irrigated land and so dry land. So how much land of irrigated land do you have for the cultivation of agriculture? That is so being fixed. If you have that much, beyond that much of land, then that can be given to the government. Government will distribute that land to the landless labor. Okay. In that way, the dry land can also be bifurcated. So the minimum ceiling land they are being fixed. If a person is having more than that land, land can be taken by the government, and that land can be allocated to some other person who is not having much land. In that way, the redistribution of land is taking place. So from the beginning, whenever the act has been implemented, so since then this type of reforms are being taken place. If suppose I am there, I am having so more than around 18 acres of land, okay, in my area. So I have so an eligibility of 18 acres of land only. If tomorrow I may purchase another so piece of land, that has to be come under ceiling. I have to lose that land. The government will take over that land, and that land can be allocated to some other farmer. This is what the situation which is happening in India. Am I clear to you?
Okay, I understand you. But what I'm asking, sir,
Yeah.
is how does government apportion land for herders, for pastoralists, for nomadic farmers?
Okay, okay. Tribal point of view, yes. So
Yeah.
actually, they are keep on changing their lands. Okay, Podu cultivation. So sometimes they may cultivate at one place, and in some times, so they may go. They can migrate to some other place, and they wherever they may be available, they may do the cultivation. But the Scheduled Areas Act has been implemented, okay, that wherever the tribal people are living, so in that place the no other person can go and purchase that type of land. That land belongs to the group of people, those who are staying in and around. So for them only that land can be assigned, and so they only are the cultivators. In that way, the Scheduled Areas Act has been implemented, especially in the tribal areas. These permanent pastures, if they do not have, because the permanent pastures and grazing lands, they can be called as common property resources. Okay, those who do not have any type of piece of land, the government is in a position to allocate the land rights. so to cultivate such type of lands, and they are distributing that land, so rights to them. In that way, so the permanent pastures and grazing lands, so they can be given so to them, and they for them the some type of credit facilities also been arranged to cultivate to such type of lands. In that way, the government is so doing some type of practices to allot the land rights to the tribal people, or those who are living in that type of scheduled areas, or those who are not having any type of lands, so they may be given such type of land rights in such a manner. Is that okay?
Yeah, thank you very much. I think
Yes.
your answer has opened door to another question, but I want my brother to ask his question first
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
before before I ask another question.
Yes, yes. Please ask me, Emma. Yes. Hello?
Okay, I could see his hand
Amma,
up.
can you repeat what you are asking again? Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay, I said I
Mm.
want to ask when you said the tribal people are being apportioned land and were
Yes,
given some sort of credit
yes.
to cultivate the land. How
To
does the
cultivate
credit
the land.
work? How does it
Credit
work?
work means institutional banks, because government is giving bank loans to them. Okay, because they do not have any other source. So that is why the government is giving so credit facilities to them based on the, so whatever the type of land which is being allocated to them, against to that, so they may give some type of loans. Okay, after some time they may be waived off. Okay, if suppose they are not in a position to cultivate such type of lands in a productive manner, okay, they may appeal to the government, and government is so almost wiping off, so they are removing some type of loans on the on that type of farmers. That is also happening. Am I clear to you?
Yeah, very
The
clear, sir. Very
government
important.
is giving bank loans. So okay, the farmer, the tribal people, they are not able to repay. Then the government is in a position to remove that loan on them. Okay, they are not in a position to pay. They need not to pay that type of loans also to some extent. Okay, those who are in a position to pay, they can only pay to some extent, and the remaining amount may be wiped off, or they may be so removed from the accounts. Okay, they may be given some type of exemption so to that type of facilities. Yes, these things are happening so from time to time. If suppose I am also a farmer, so if my crop is not coming in a reasonable manner, the government is compensating while ensuring the type of crop. The government is is giving some money to me. That is one way, while ensuring the crop. So otherwise, if I have taken a loan against that crop, so that loans are also being so exempting or removing by the governments, because government for the vote bank, they are coming and so saying that yes, so I am in a position to, government is in a position to wipe off or removing some type of loans, so those the farmers are not able to repay, so then so they may not be in a position to pay further also, like that. So the governments are doing time to time, not
That's
only
very
for the
clear, sir.
tribal farmers, for other farmers also the governments are doing. Yes, yes, Sama. Is any
Thank
other
you very much.
question? Yeah, thank you. Any other question? Hello. Hmm.
Yes, sir. So if there's no question, we can
Yeah.
bind up, sir.
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes. Okay.
So thank you, sir, for
Okay.
the nice presentation. And
Okay.
yeah,
Thank you. Thank
for
you. Thank you
Mr.
very much.
Any student having any query?
Usman? Yeah, he is raising his hand, seems to be. Yes. Usman, do you have
Sorry,
any
sir, I really
question?
raised my hand, but I really enjoyed the class,
Yeah.
and it's making an impact because we are having different lot of differences between Nigeria and India, though we are
Yes.
the same
Yes.
country, and we are seeing this.
Yeah.
This course is giving us more highlight
Okay.
uh, on how Nigerian
Yeah.
agriculture
Agriculture
policy needs to be
development
updated.
policy is there. Yes. Yes.
Yes, yes,
It is
because more
true.
especially the questions asked by Mohammed
Yeah. No
uh,
problem.
are the
Mm.
kind of questions going in my heart, and
Yeah.
it was really clarified because
Yes.
we are
Yes.
having a very big problem of
Mm.
Fulani herdsmen
Okay.
migration from one region of Nigeria to another, and
Yeah.
this is one major problem we are having
Yeah.
because there's no policy to guide the country
Mm.
on these herdsmen. So there are a
Yes.
lot of
But
farmer herdsmen.
we have these so policies since beginning. So effectiveness of the implementation is so it depending upon the state governments. Though agriculture is the state subject, because
Yes,
of that reason, some states they are taking very seriously. Some states they are not taking much serious. In that context, the government, central government, is also intervening and trying to so help. Yes.
thank you very much, sir.
Yeah, yeah, welcome.
Yeah,
Okay. So thank you very much. So bye
okay,
for
thank
today.
you, sir.
Okay. Okay.
Bye, everyone.
Bye,
Yes.
everyone.